All right, guys, welcome to episode 2 of Roads to Big. So, last time I talked about getting back into running and kind of feeling that fire to run, but I also talked about kind of getting injured at cross country practice. And I'm dealing with that injury. It's gotten a lot better. I've been putting the work in here at home to do some extra things. I'm going to start going to physical therapist soon, but more or less, it was just an inner thigh, like I pulled a groin trying to do some striders, and so I've been doing a lot of core work, a lot of adductor and abductor work. And if I'm able to run, I'm able still able to do CrossFit. It's just still a little sore, not something I want to carry through 24 weeks of training. So definitely working on it. But in this episode, I wanted to talk about what the bigs is and how you get into it, what the process is, because it just actually changed this season. So let's. I'm going to share my screen on my computer here. I'm bringing it in here, and we'll talk about it. So here's the screen. The first one, what is a backyard ultra? So the backyard ultra, it was put on by a guy named Lazarus Lake. That's him right there. He also puts on some other races out in Tennessee, like the Barkley Marathons, which is pretty well known. But his idea was, he wants everyone to be able to run 100 miles. So what's the best in under 24 hours? That's like the golden standard, is to run 100 miles in under 24 hours. And what's the better way to do that is to make a race where you can do that. So he took 100 miles, divided it by 24, and it came up with this number, 4.167. Essentially, you run 4.16 miles on the hour every hour. And as long as you're back before that hour ends, you get to go again. And in this case, it kind of developed into a race where as long as there's another runner with you, you just keep going and going and going. And until one of those two runners decides to, bow out or they can't go anymore, the other runner has to finish one more lap or one more yard, as they say, to win the race. So essentially, I guess there could be a chance where no one wins the race if both runners quit, can't finish the lap within the next hour, then there is no winner. So looking at how do we get into Biggs 2022, right? That's the next one. Biggs, he holds his event at his house in October every year. Now there's events put on, affiliated races put on all throughout the world now, and every single one of them, if they're affiliated with Biggs, then you have a chance of getting into his race. This year, it's a little bit different coming up. So it's on a 2-year cycle. 1 year they run a World Team Championship, which is going to be the 2022, and then the following year there'll be a individual championship. So to get into 2022, that's my goal, the World Team Championship. They take six winners of the silver ticket events, and then 9 other places will be determined at the at-large list. Okay, so what does that look like? If I go to here, here's the brackets for the U.S. These here are bronze ticket events. These are, I don't want to say lower level events, but they're a bit easier to get into. And if you win one of these, you automatically get into the silver ticket event. You can just apply for the silver ticket event, and if you win the silver ticket event, you get an automatic bid into Biggs 2022. Okay, now, so there's 6 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the U.S., and the other 9 is people who are at the at-large list. So here's the at-large list. It talks about right here. Here's the 6 silver ticket list. Here's the last 9 places that get in on the at-large list. And essentially, at-large means you don't have to win an event, but if you go 68 yards like Courtney Dauwalter did here, you automatically, you get moved to the top of the list. And the top 9 runners, essentially the runners that run the farthest in this year, get the bid into Biggs. So you don't have to win an event to get in. Say one of these silver ticket events that are listed here, it's easier to see on this page. If it only goes for some reason 150 miles and you win it, you get into Biggs. You don't have to run 300, 400 miles. So Courtney Dauwalter, so 35 yards is 150 miles. So 70 yards would be 300 miles. So Courtney here ran just under 300 miles, 292, maybe 293 miles, for which is 68 yards. So she's at the top of the list for the 2020 to 21 results. So silver ticket events, 6 of those, and then 9 at large. So my plan is here. I've listed out the silver ticket events. This is my plan. Ohio's Backyard Ultra is the one that I'm going to try to get into. Registration opens up the 1st of October, actually, which is tomorrow, but this date I have here is wrong. It's actually the 5th. The 1st of October, they're giving the early registration to the runners that have run 100 miles or more in their last events, and all the women that have been in the last event. And then on the 5th at midnight, I think, they will open it up for general registration. I'm going to, be at my computer midnight trying to register for that event to get into Ohio's Backyard Ultra. My plan here is to win the event. My goal going into my last last Backyard Ultra was to win the event, and this one had some really stiff competition last year. I think it went into Monday morning, which would be 200 plus miles. And that's exactly what I want to do. I want to win this event and get into bigs for 2022. So that's how that looks. That's the process for bigs. And if you do well at bigs in 2022, you can get a spot on the individual championship for 2023. All right, guys. Thanks for following along. I'll keep you updated how it's going.